The STIHL Timbersports Series looks to the future. Today we take you to two locations on two separate continents for two competitions, showcasing the best young talent the sport has to offer. First, we head to Europe, where the best young lumberjack talent from around the globe meet for the Rookie World Championship. Later, we land in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with the best collegiate talent from the United States for the STIHL Timbersports U.S. Collegiate Championship. This year, the magnificent city of Hamburg plays host to the best timber sports rookies in the world. The stage is set on the banks of the River Elbe for a display of what these talented young athletes can do with an axe and saw. The arena for this timber sports spectacle is the Cruise Center Altona, who will claim the title of being the best timber sports rookie in the world.
I'm definitely the favorite to win. Don't think anyone else is going to beat me.
My goal for the Rookie World Championships is to defend our title and bring home a gold for Canada.
The person that's going to win is going to be the person that trained the hardest and has the best day.
There are 4 disciplines in the Rookie World Championship. The contestants do combat in pairs, head-to-head on the deck. It's all about the time placings to gain points. The best 8 athletes have qualified for this stage of the competition, and we start off with the stock saw. Heat number 1, George Williams versus Yannick Lindner.
The most important advice I got from other athletes is to keep your mental game good and focus on what you're doing. Don't worry about others.
Hands on the wood. Get set.
This will go very quickly, and a good start for both athletes here. They must produce 2 clean cuts. 1 up, 1 down means 2 complete discs in order to be legal. And there we go, very, very close, but it's going to be the Canadian Williams with a time of 11.91, 11.97 for the German Lindner. By 6/100ths of a second, it's going to be Williams.
I'm very happy with that. I was focusing on getting my 2 cuts done, smooth transition. Could have went a little bit faster. I heard the saw easing up a bit, but I tried to keep it smooth and steady, and I'm happy with my cut.
Next heat of the stock saw pits the United States' William Adams up against Ferry Svan from Sweden.
The biggest thing is having someone out there watching you timing, trying to beat your old times, and just working to become a better chopper.
Ready. 15 seconds to warm up your saw. Hands on the wood. Get set.
Svan on the right, Adams on the left, and quickly to the wood is the 2016 Nordic champion Ferry Svan, falling behind and further behind William Adams of the United States. And Svan, this could be a new rookie record. 11.32 for Ferry Svan, a 13.21 for Adams. We take it back to the start of the race, and you can see William Adams' trouble started from the very beginning.
Yeah, I got a little vibration from the saw sitting on a wood deck, and it made it vibrate back a little bit, and so then I grabbed the chain brake, but a little different than over in the US, but made 2 cuts, and now it's time to move on to the chopping and keep going forward.
We're moving on to heat number 3. This will be Blake Marsh of Australia up against Scott Folks of Great Britain.
I did a lot of training to come over here. Trained probably 5 times a week, chopped about 5 blocks a day. Did all the local little shows around home.
Hands on the wood. Get set.
This one will be tight. A good close start by both competitors. Time to beat 11.32, and that's a good one. And there at the turn, they are neck and neck. The question is, who is going to finish strong? And this one, yes, very close, but it is Scott Folks of Great Britain, a time of 12.26. Blake Marsh of Australia, 12.46.
Okay. Both cuts are good.
Another quick look at this race, and it was a close one. And now it's done. All the discs have been inspected, and it's going to be Blake Marsh taking 6th place. That means Scott Folks in 5th at the end.
I wasn't that good that discipline, a bit slow. Hopefully I can pick up and get a bit more better and faster in the next couple of disciplines to go.
Well, the first discipline, the stock saw, is in the books. Let's take a look at the overall points ranking. Going to be Ferry Svan. That great effort, 11.32 for first place. Guillaume Schepler of France in second. George Williams of Canada in third. Next, we put the saws away and break out the axes. The standing block is next when the STIHL Timbersports Series continues.
The STIHL Timbersports Series is brought to you by STIHL, the #1 selling brand of chainsaw worldwide. Are you ready for a STIHL? And by Duluth Trading, designed and tested by tradesmen.
The STIHL Timbersports Series Rookie World Championship continues from Hamburg, Germany. And after one event, Ferry Svan from Sweden sits atop your leaderboard in overall points, with Guillaume Schepler from France just behind, and George Williams of Canada sitting in third. Ready for discipline number 2? The standing block. This one's a rematch. George Williams of Canada up against Yannick Lindner of Germany.
I'm just trying to keep it all normal. It's a competition just like any other. Stay cool and have fun.
Cool zu bleiben und Spaß zu haben.
3, 2, 1, go!
Well, here we go. These two 23-year-olds, big, strong athletes, taking off after these 30-centimeter blocks of wood. You got to get your work put in on the front side before you go around to the back. These guys being very fastidious about that. But when do you apply the power? Well, Williams is doing that right now. And, oh, it slips out. He almost had it there. He could have saved a stroke, but he's going to take it with a good time. A personal best for him of 27.60. For Yannick Lindner of Germany, a rough time, 47.45. Well, an incredibly dominating performance from George Williams, the Canadian. Powerful, powerful blows, and it was all Yannick Lindner could do just to keep up and really wasn't able to.
The wood was a lot harder than expected, and that kind of threw me off after the first few hits. This is some fairly hard wood, so it was tough.
Heat number 2 now, William Adams of the USA against the current overall points leader, Ferry Svan of Sweden.
This competition I have trained a lot, so I think I'm prepared.
Here we go. Adams on the right, Svan on the left. Should be a fairly even matchup between the Nordic champion, the reigning Nordic champ, and the U.S. Collegiate champ. And you can tell immediately the difference between the previous heat. A much faster pace with the blows from these two athletes for better times in this heat. Adams made his turn, so is Svan. Svan making a little more progress. As a matter of fact, he's starting to get some movement at the top of the block there. One more should do it. That's it. Svan with a great time. Quickly have a look at some of this good, tight racing and the power on display here in Hamburg. Both of these competitors, in fact, with this heat, setting their own personal bests.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that cut. I have a 39 second on my last Nordic Championship, and a really good time for me.
Next heat will be Blake Marsh of Australia going up against Simon Gruter of Switzerland.
The advice that I got to come over here was just relax, don't worry about the crowd, try not to let the nerves get to you, and just do your own thing and don't worry about anyone else.
3,
Blake
2,
Marsh, the Aussie,
1,
definitely
go.
with a game plan. Make your kind of effort, no distractions. Will that work against the Swiss, Simon Gruter? Gruter hanging in there, both of them with a good, strong, compact stroke, and the pace, very much like our best heat so far, where the Swede laid down 22.65. And yes, Marsh, wow, this is going to be well ahead of that. 18.02, Blake Marsh taking the top spot so far. The Australian, 25.22 for Simon Gruter. Terrific heat there and a terrific time for Blake Marsh. Both of these guys on a good pace there, but obviously Marsh applying more power and getting a quicker result. Blake Marsh with by far the best effort in the standing block chop, that 18.02 top points, 8 points for him, but Ferry Svan not far behind him, and Svan now extends his lead in overall points, 15 to the nearest competitor, Marsh with 11. On to the single buck, going to be Scott Folks of Great Britain going up against our current overall points leader, Ferry Svan of Sweden.
When it's competition, you really want to do the fastest you can, but if you're stressed or you're rushing, that's not going to be a good job.
3, 2, 1, go!
Again, the time to beat laid down 16.74 by the German Lindner. Barry Swan off to an extremely good and flawless start here in this heat of the single buck. Look how quickly he is moving through that wood. That is going to be your best time by a wide margin there. 12.02 for Swan. Unbelievable. 20.50 it's going to be for Scott Folks, and Swan may have just secured this championship. So the 2016 Nordic champion with obviously the perfect saw and a very, very fast time.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that cut. So I've done my homework, I see now, so now I'm going for it.
For the last 2 years, the title of Rookie World Champion has been won by Canadians. Can this year's Canadian representative make it a hat trick? George Williams sits in third place in the overall standings at the moment. For George Williams and Blake Marsh, nothing short of your best effort will do in this final heat.
Okay. Time is ready.
Contestants ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, well, obvious from the start, the pace is going to be very, very quick. Both competitors without a hiccup so far, but Marsh, there's a little hang-up, and Williams plowing on through it. What a time! 10.32 for George Williams of Canada. Overwhelming. Blake Marsh of Australia had a 14.19. One more look at the single buck cut of the day by big, powerful George Williams of Canada, 10.32.
Happy I won my heat, but I could have won a lot faster. The wood was a bit hard, so it kind of threw me off a bit, but see how it goes.
George Williams going to take top points in the single buck with that great effort. 8 points to him, followed by Svan, Blake Marsh, and Yannick Lindner. Overall points, though, it's still the Swede on top, Svan, with 22 points to 18 points for George Williams. From Hamburg, Germany, we are nearing the end of our STIHL Timbersport Series Rookie World Championship. Final discipline here is the underhand chop. Heat number 1 going to feature Yannick Lindner up against George Williams.
My first goal is to get through the contest without picking up a disqualification, but my main goal is to finish as the best European.
3, 2, 1, go.
Williams on the right, Lindner on the left. Williams definitely in the hunt for overall points. And you look at the underhand chop, you think, wow, this looks the simplest of all. You have gravity on your side, but it can be deceptively difficult. Williams, though, taking the front face out, now working on the back side of that block. Williams, if he can just stay on it, stay with it, he should have the advantage over Lindner. A couple of more blows. He may have miscalculated a bit, having a hard time getting that one down. Still, there we go. So the time's going to be 27.09 for George Williams. He knows, though, it could have been a whole lot better. Could have been way better for Yannick Lindner here. Definitely struggling with his technique. There, comes off right there. Not a good time, 38.59. And, uh-oh, it may not be over here. It looks like, yeah, they just threw a flag on that. Let's see what the infraction was. As they point to that, the footholds. You cannot cut through the footholds line there. That is a disqualification.
Good. Yannick, you cut the foothold, that's why DQ.
So while George Williams takes the top points, it's going to have to be chalked up to lessons learned for young Yannick Lindner. Certainly had rough going in the final event of the day.
Yeah, I cut into the foothold on the right. One mistake and then you can't work, and so I'm really annoyed with myself.
Next tee to the underhand, Guillaume Schepler of France on the right going up against the American, William Adams.
When it comes to traditional timber sports, I'd say it's the underhand and the standing block. Underhand more than the standing block just because I got better at it faster.
3, 2, 1, go.
Here's a match that definitely means something, as both of these competitors are tied at this point in the competition in overall points. Again, Adams on the left, Schepler, the Frenchman, on the right. Balance so critical here, getting a good front face out as Adams makes his turn. May have the upper hand on Schepler here. Let's watch. Still pretty close. Both of them laboring over that. The time to beat 27:09. It's going to be Adams just shy of the best time of the day. 27:16. Scheffler with a 30.86. Well, it would be the American William Adams prevailing at the end. But for both he and Guillaume Scheffler, it was a personal best. So a good effort overall.
Got off balance, stood up way too high, came up with the axe over my head a little high, I think, than I'm used to. Set me off balance, so I take a minute, you gotta readjust and keep going. But all in all, it wasn't a bad chop.
What an important match this is. Ferry Svan of Sweden, the leader in overall points, going up against Scott Folkes of Great Britain.
3, 2, 1, go!
Well, it's obvious Ferry Svan is not one of the larger competitors here, but as he has proven through the heats today, the different disciplines, sometimes balance, good skill, hand-eye coordination, making sure that the axe is delivered at the right angle at the right time. Sometimes more important than absolutely just bludgeoning the wood, and that's playing out here as Ferry Svan definitely has the advantage, but laboring over just the final few strokes here, just trying to get that head to come off right there one more time. And that block almost severed. There he is, Svan, but with a time of 31.81. We'll see if it holds up well enough for him to gain the championship here. Scott Folkes still laboring there. He'll finish with a time of 40.64. Ferry Svan of Sweden has been impressive all day long. He probably wouldn't count this among his best efforts, but was definitely enough to take that particular heat. The big question is, will his 31.81 at the end of the competition be enough to get the championship?
Yeah, it didn't go as planned, but we'll see how far I come.
Well, final heat of the final discipline of the day, featuring the Swiss Gruter up against Marsh, the Australian.
Favorite discipline's got to be the underhand. Just the strongest one. I just like it the most.
3, 2, 1, go!
Well, I got to tell you, the Aussies, the New Zealanders, all these guys from the South Pacific, very, very hard to beat in the underhand. It's something they take very personally, and obviously Marsh is taking this one extremely personally. Look how fast and how specific these cuts are. Look at those two faces here. This one's going to be off, in record time. That's going to be a 17.83, blows away the rest of the field, does Marsh with this effort in the final event of the day. Blake Marsh of Australia definitely knew what he had to achieve in this heat. Put down the best time of the day in the underhand, and obviously he knew exactly how to go about it. A dominant win and a time which absolutely blew away the rest of the competition. But the big story is the points, and there you see Blake Marsh. Well, taking top points, of course, here with George Williams and William Adams, first, second, and third. But as it turns out, as we look at our final overall points, Ferry Svan actually did get enough done in this final discipline to take the world champion. Our STIHL Timbersports rookie world champion from Sweden is Ferry Svan. Taking third, Canada's George Williams.
If I was a little bit faster in the standing block, I would have been a few points ahead. That would have put me up at first.
Australia's Blake Marsh finishes 1 point behind the leader for second.
Yeah, I'm happy with the performance in my last standing block and underhand, but it's pretty annoying when you just lose by a point.
Once again, the Swede, Ferry Svan, takes the STIHL Timbersports Rookie World Championship title.
I didn't think I will win this, but I have trained a lot, so it's really happy to see that the training have done its work.
Next, we traveled stateside to meet the best college lumberjacks from the USA. Milwaukee, Wisconsin hosts the STIHL Timbersports Series U.S. Collegiate Championship next. The STIHL Timbersports Series continues.
The STIHL Timbersports Series is brought to you by STIHL, the #1 selling brand of gasoline-powered handheld outdoor power equipment in America. And by Duluth Trading, designed and tested by tradesmen.
Welcome to the 2017 edition of the STIHL Timbersports Super Dave Jewett on the shores of Lake Michigan. We are in Milwaukee. And Dave, Wisconsin understands lumberjack competition.
You gotta love it. This is 25 years I've done the STIHL Timbersports Series. This is the best crowd we've ever had. Let's jump right in, because I want to talk about this guy, Brad Jones. Third year, third time. Everybody says, well, he was third overall in his group. Negative. He had the hardest standing block. You give him a good standing block, he's my man today.
Well, we've got 4 disciplines to settle this, and we're going to start with the underhand chop. Dave, this next heat, if we're hedging bets here, this is my boy versus your boy right now coming up.
Yeah.
Andrew Surgeon coming out of Mechanicsville, Virginia, and West Virginia Mountaineer representative is up against Brad Jones, and we've seen Brad for a few years now. He is a powerhouse in the Northeast, 3rd overall, as you mentioned, in his region. But let's face it, in terms of college ranks, that's a tough region to come out of.
Watch Sargent, though. I competed Sargent. He's a big guy. He's got to get that axe out a little bit farther, though. He's not using the power. Man, on stand number 2 to the right, though. Yep. Brad Jones, now he's throwing it out, keeping that head down, going for 3 drivers, turning at the 15-second mark.
Slab, too.
Yeah, that axe is working. He's getting up high. He's got to get that top wood. You're actually cutting from the top down, and he's got the slope to drive it. You have to have the slope. It'll penetrate 30%. Whoa! Where were we looking?
Yeah, Andrew Surgeon putting on a big surge there at the end.
Boy, he stayed in the front. Those pros, Mike Slingerland, Art Koger Jr., they told him, stay in the front. I like to call that a mullet cut. Business in the front, party in the back. He did. He won that heat.
There's our results in. We have dropped into the 30-second range. Andrew Surgeon, 29.98. Right on his heels, William Brad Jones. There you see our Midwestern representative. This guy's been spending a lot of time with Cassidy Shear this weekend. Cassidy Shear having a great run in the pro ranks, and we've got one of our Northeastern wild cards. We went to 5 different regions and picked up a qualifier at each one. This gentleman, Ethan Hall from SUNY ESF, one of my alumnuses from all my college days. I had a great talk with him at the start. He's coming into this with a great attitude, calm, level-headed,
right.
And we'll see how the chips fall, if you will.
Watch the ex-football player Chaz Haas on the left. This guy's a powerhouse. I was competing in the World Championships a couple weeks ago, and he was mixing it up with the pros in the standing block, and there's that speed right there. He's just pissing in that axe in. Almost too fast? Could we be wrong again, Kevin? Is that a controlled speed, though, on our left side of the screen? He's got the slope, not the penetration, and if he's driving now, he's smart enough, took a low chip, and I think he's going to get that. This will be tight, though.
Yeah, he's got a, I can't believe that. I was about to say he's got a lot going on in the top of that block still, but he apparently had less than either of us thought. We've got a new leader, our Midwest regional qualifier, Chaz Haas, a 28.65.
Yeah, a little nervous going out there, but huge crowd today. I'm excited to be here. I was happy with the way I cut that blocks on the axe, and going 1-0 today. Done with that event and focusing on the next one, stock saw. So we got a lot of events coming up. It's gonna be a great one.
Our last 2 up in the underhand chop. We're on stand number 3. See him wearing that bib number 45, John Parcell. This is the 2nd year we've had John with us. He is our Western Regional qualifier and just a well-rounded competitor. And of course, our Northeast region actual winner from the Northeast region, Jesse Cutting. And that speaks volumes because we ended up pulling our 3 wildcard competitors out of the Northeast because that whole region was just so strong this year.
Now buckle up, Jesse Cutting, 6'5", man, 6'5". This guy's got a huge swing. If he can use it, if he can throw that axe out, it looks pretty good to me. He's getting outpaced though. John Parcell, he's moving.
You got to see what he's getting per swing. I see a pile of monster chips in front of Jesse Cutting.
He may be turning at 13 seconds. He is right at 13 seconds. I like how he's lined up. This guy's got an awesome swing. That's trend setting right there. Looking low, he's going to come up high. We're talking about Jesse Cutting on the right. And if he's got the slope, he's broke the top. He's broke the middle. There it is. I love it. I'm going to jump up. That's awesome. I'm standing up for this one. That's a great cut. I guarantee you. High 27.
Let's go back and watch this cut, Dave.
Here we go, turns. I love how he pauses, lines up. Look at both feet. square to the hit. Both feet square to the chip hit. A little less slope. Now he's going to come back. A solid slope there. The top is done. Top's done.
Yeah.
He's just going to chip it out. See how he ignored the top, went right for the middle, and the lower hit. Top, break the top, break the middle. He's going to shuffle forward a little bit. There it is. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good. That's probably one of my better events, honestly. So having that first is kind of nice. I feel a little bit more comfortable doing it. So it's nice getting that one gone, but we'll see what happens after the stock saw, and then it should be better off. So yeah, thank you.
There you go, Dave Jewett, as predicted or as requested. Jesse Cutting, 27-71, now on top of the heap, picks up some Ram overall points. Discipline 1 in the bank here in Milwaukee. Axes are away, MS 661C chainsaws are out. It is stock saw time. First heat, Kemp Wilson up against John Parcell. Dave, run us through this discipline a little bit. How does the stock saw play into the collegiate end of things? It's a pretty mental game.
2 cuts, 16 inches of white pine. It's a down cut and an up cut. 4 inches of wood. You have to retrieve the saw, and they're so fast that they're hitting the 1 second mark late. In the wood, full throttle. I watched one of the pros yesterday. He one-hand grabbed it, he got it up, and the throttle response is so fast on these 661s. As soon as you hit it, it's full speed, 60-mile-an-hour chain speed. So these guys are going, how do I get there faster? I don't have to hit the throttle right away because the throttle response is so quick. But what could possibly go wrong, Kevin?
Dave, we've got like 2 hours for this show. We can't list off everything that could go wrong in Dave Jewett's book of mistakes of stock saw here.
Hands on the wood. Get set.
But they go both hands on top of the wood. He's looking for 8 fingers. There you go, and an engaged chain break. What could go wrong? Just did John Parcell engage the chain break. The door's open. Kemp Wilson, beautiful. That's beautiful. Look at this. Unofficially in the 11-second, he beat me. He's faster than I am. I got no problem. You remind me of that all the time, Kevin. The saw was too close to him, so he came down and hit the chain break first. That chain break has to be just underneath the log, so your hands come straight down, they grab that top handle. Look at him, he even looked up at stand number 1. And that's just a brain cramp right there to get off your own game and be looking at stand number 1. It's the first heat. Other competitors can make the same mistake, so you've got to get those Ram points there.
Well, there we go, Dave. Rewarded Kemp Wilson an 11:39.
That's a low 11.
Stock saw went very well. I was very pleased with that. Little bit of rough entry, a little bit of pause on the changeover, but overall good run. Didn't bother the saw and kept it between the lines.
Stand number 1, our West Virginia, our Mid-Atlantic qualifier, Andrew Sargent. And then from Unity College up in Maine, Kyle Williams.
Yeah, I've been talking to Kyle all weekend, and all he's been talking about is beating Andrew Sargent in the single buck. So he may have just the single buck on his mind, but he was a little slow in that underhand, and here's a finesse of it. He's probably the biggest guy out there, broadest shoulders. This is finesse. Again, that ear, hand, eye coordination.
Get set.
Oh, Andrew Sargent, I think he hit the chain break, did not engage, but he's fast. Look at Sargent right out the bottom.
He was second to the block, but he is making it up in the wood for sure. Just smoked off a couple of cuts.
That's a smoking cut.
Not going to be good enough for the win if our unofficial time is in the ballpark.
I can't help calling him Sargent. It's actually Surgeon to pronounce this, but he's he's an entertaining guy. He's funny out there. He's lighthearted, but he has been training with these guys in the West Virginia area, the Kogers we're talking about, and the Slingerlands. That's a good cut. You know, it looked like he was in the 11s despite that fumble on the start. But you have to you got to go for it. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to get some Ram points. I'm going to stay in the middle and get a few Ram points. Those days are done. You got to attack every event.
I'm I'm happy with that too, honestly. Cut 11.84 official time, and that's probably the best one I've cut in a while. So I'm having a decent day so far. My next 2 strongest events are coming up, so I'm excited. Feel pretty good.
There's our man from Paul Smith's college. Big showing in the underhand. He's going to look to follow up in the stock saw. Jesse Cutting. And over on stand number 1, Ethan Hall from the State University of New York, College of Environmental Science and Forestry in Syracuse.
I always say that the most difficult event you'll ever compete on in timber sports is the event that follows the event that you just won. And this is going to be a test of nerves right here for Jesse Cutting.
Hands on the wood. Get set.
Oh, a little bit of a grab from Ethan Hall, also catching that chain break.
Well, if you're superstitious, stand number 1 has been a good stand. Jesse Cutting looks good. That's a beautiful cut. Jesse Cutting, he retrieved the saw fast, came up, and he just did a real safe hover, line it up. That's got to be a reactionary move. You got to get that up. Soon as you feel that back throttle, you got to go.
Look at this, Dave. Here we go. We're piling up the 11s. Just barely, you said, just under 12 or around 12 flat. 11.89 for Jesse Cutting. Around the 12.5 second mark, our competitor from SUNY ESF, Ethan Hall. Dave, here comes your buddy Brad Jones, hailing out of the Northeast region from the University of Maine. And from the University of Wisconsin, our Midwest regional qualifier, Chaz Haas, is going to come up here and settle in.
Well, Chaz Haas was a football player growing up, and it'll be a STIHL MS 661 moving the chains today.
Hands on the wood. Get set.
Oh, too fast. Brad Jones, too fast. That's just going beyond your ability, but still caught up. This is going to be very close. I think he's still...
Oh, got greedy at the end, or may have been trying to steer it back at the end.
We have not had a disqualification yet. Is it going to happen on stand number 1? We'll know it if a yellow flag comes out.
No, Rich is walking away. Flag's still in pocket. Very anxious to see the replay there on stand number 1.
Here's Chaz. Beautiful recovery, not a recovery, beautiful entry. He's been training with Cassidy Shear, who's one of the best stock sawyers in the country right now. He's got a bit of a thick disc, but it's an even disc. Now he thins it out. And keeping that bar level. The bar's on a bit of an angle, but all the chains on the wood. Even pressure. Face of steel, throwing a few visual daggers down at Brad Jones. That's a good cut.
2 events down, 2 events to go, and right now it's all about Jesse Cutting, our Northeast Regional qualifier, or champion, I should say, putting on a bit of a clinic. But Dave, look at the points stack up here. 1 point behind Andrew Surgeon, 1 point behind Andrew, Chaz Haas, and then we got some 9s and 8s all backing up in there as well. This is not over yet. We're halfway through, more Ram points to be had. Welcome back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. STIHL Timbersports Collegiate Championship action underway. 2 events done. Jesse Cutting on top of the points pile with 14 points, but there you see it in black and white. There are some guys nipping at his heels in the form of Andrew Surgeon, our Mid-Atlantic Regional qualifier, Chaz Haas, our Midwest Regional qualifier, and we're getting the axes back out for the standing block chop. Well, the next 2 guys up, getting ready to try to best that 28-second time. John Parcell.
There are a lot of eyes right now on the man stand number 2, Andrew Surgeon, and those eyes are the pros from that West Virginia, Pennsylvania, North Carolina region. They've been training this guy. Not the most accurate, but he brings a lot of speed. Now, if he can collide those 2, accuracy, experience, and speed, if he can get that all tied together.
All right, gentlemen, timers ready, contestants ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, he's jumped. That's almost a jump gun. John Purcell. Speed. Well, he's hitting it good. Surgeon, though. He put 3 up in the front. I don't think he went far enough. That's the man in the black on the right side. I don't think he put enough in the front, but he's looking right into that hit. He's coming at it. He's coming at driving this thing. He got it. I was wrong. Those 3 up hits, he spanned his axe. He covered all that 12-inch white pine in low 20s. That's a statement right there. 21.71 is the unofficial time for Andrew Surgeon.
Yeah. And apparently now John Parcells was DQ'd for a jump gun. Barely jumping the gun, but that's all it takes. There is no gray area for head judge Rich Hallett. But on stand number 3, Dave Jewett, we've got a new standing block record. We're over here talking about how he could do things a little better, and Garrett Gregoric used to have the record back in 2014 at a 22.58. But we have a new collegiate standing block record. Andrew Surgeon, a 21.23. All that training is paying off. Yeah, here we go. Stand number 2, Chaz Haas, our Midwest qualifier. Kyle Williams from Unity, Maine, over on stand number 1.
Yeah, he opened 1-1, meaning you take a 6 o'clock hit, a 12 o'clock hit. The big chip comes out, then you reach and you hit those corners. He's turning at the 9-second mark. Chaz Haas on the right side. Look at the block splitting apart though on stand number 1. That's a melon. Chaz,
we may have another new record.
I would have said, Andrew Surgeon, you've got the record for years to come. That didn't take long. Chaz Haas, unbelievable. Here's the replay right now. He's got a big front in there, a huge wall of wood. Now the axe is going to penetrate into that wall of wood. And does he put 1 up? He's going to put 2 up. Now he says, I've got to come at it. And he breaks it near, and he didn't even drive that much wood.
20.8, not to sound like a broken record, but a new collegiate standing block record. Chaz Haas, 1 heat after the record was broken, it's been broken again.
Get out there, focus on your chop, get done, and it was a pretty good shot for me. I missed a couple hits, but the block came off, and yeah, I got to give the fans what they want.
Jesse Cutting, Paul Smith's college, won our underhand chop. We'll see if he can go 2 for 2 in the chops here in the standing block, and he's up against your pick, Brad Jones, who, as you've mentioned, has been circling the tower for quite a while and hoping for that win.
Timers ready. Contestants ready. 3, 2, 1,
just watch
go.
The wingspan. Jesse Cutting, he's just stuck a little bit. Huge swings though. Jesse Cutting gonna go for a 10-hit front. There's 7, 8, 2 hits up, 9, 10, 11, turning at the 11-second mark. Brad Jones, who is looking for a win in the standing, he's been snake bitten in this event. The man in the gray bringing it. A little separation anxiety. Wow, he was coming, that would have been so close for Brad Jones in the gray. I can't wait to see this replay. Had he reached, I'm gonna give the technique award to Brad Jones in the gray. Look at that. Well, now watch what happens here. See, he didn't reach, now he's coming at it. Now watch, that's the far hit who should have been reached. And there's the separation anxiety of that log. Had he reached that, that's a new record. He knows it.
Brad Jones currently showing a tied time, 21-23 with Andrew Surgeon, which, by the way, I don't know, 7 minutes ago, was a new collegiate record, but it now puts him in a tie with Andrew Surgeon. We'll have to sort that out. Chaz Haas, obviously, his record's safe right now with that 20.8. 3 down, 1 to go. Check this out, Dave Jewett. Andrew Surgeon, Chaz Haas, each tied 20 points. Jesse Cutting, 1 point outside. We've got a Ram points traffic jam with 1 discipline left to go. Your baby, the single buck.
The STIHL TimberSports Series is brought to you by STIHL, built in America, believing in America. And by Duluth Trading, designed and tested by tradesmen.
STIHL TimberSports Collegiate Championship action underway, and the points battle is intense. Andrew Sargent, Chaz Haas, both with 20 Ram overall points. Jesse Cutting, 19 points, just one behind. And don't chalk up Brad Jones. Anything can go wrong in this single buck event. Look at this next heat coming up here, Dave. Here's your boy, Brad Jones, currently 15 Ram overall points. He is sitting in 4th place coming into this discipline, and he's up against Jesse Cuttings from Paul Smith College up in the Adirondacks of New York State. Jesse Cuttings with 19 points coming in again to this last discipline.
Timers ready.
I like both of their stances. Their arms should be extended,
3,
though.
2, 1, go.
Both arms are bent. You want those arms fully extended. That way there's zero delay when your body reacts. Brad Jones looking good on stand number 2, but outpaced right now by Jesse Cutting. He had an early hang. Jesse's got it figured out now. And now another hang, and just those low fibers, another hang at the 20-second mark. Brad Jones almost catching up.
Jesse Cutting getting down to the small part of that block, the diameter of the wood, or the volume of wood shrinking. We're getting down to the small fibers at the end of that block. You've got a few teeth sitting on a small area with a tremendous amount of pressure. And that's where we see all of those hang-ups, or most of those hang-ups. Jesse Cutting, there you see it, our new leader in the single buck. 2 heats down, he's got a 20.16.
Chaz Haas, the man who just broke the record in the standing block chop, he's up now. And again, we talk about the event following a win. How about the event following a national record? What's going through his head? Chaz Haas, the big man on stand number 2.
That's what we like to see. Big smile out of Ethan Hall.
Timers ready. Contestants ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
And Chaz coming at it with pace. Both competitors looking real good. Couple different angles. Chaz Haas, the back of the saw. He's coming in now. This is going to be fast. The man on stand number 2, Chaz Haas, who just broke the standing block record. Around 17, under 17. Our fastest time of the year was 16 seconds.
A 16:56 to be exact for Chaz Haas, and a 20.01. Ethan Hall just edging out Jesse Cutting in the single buck event.
Final heat of the single buck, and here come the men in black. Kyle Williams, stand number 1, going up against Andrew Sargent on stand number 2. And this is a grudge match. Kevin, Kyle comes in, and the first thing he said to me is, I am taking down Andrew Sargent in the single buck. They were both in the 16s in their regional qualifiers.
Remember, Andrew Sargent and Chaz Haas tied with 20 points each coming in. Right now, it's down to this cut from that man right there, Andrew Sargent. He's got to beat that 16:56.
I'm distracted, though. I'm distracted by this saw on stand number 1. It's called a whale. It was made by Dick Slingerland back in the early 80s. And he cut 16 seconds with this up at Paul Smith College. I couldn't believe it. And he says it's cut, and I'm gonna use it again. Andrew Sargent, though, that's a Tuatahi saw made in New Zealand. Not cutting a full stroke, but a fast stroke.
He's got a lot of saw going on there, and Andrew Sargent once again is relying on his arms, but look at the time.
14, 15, oh, getting hungry. He was trying to force off, he threw that saw on the ground. Watch him fighting to get this last cut up, digging and letting go of the saw.
Andrew Sargent, obviously, strength is not a deficit for this man.
I think Chaz pulled it out today. He cut very well, and I think he bested me in the last event. But I guess the times will be up here in a minute. We'll see. Not a bad showing, though. Have fun. So.
There it is. It's official. It's done. Andrew Sargent a 17.06. Not enough to take down Chaz Haas. And if you listen to the background, you can hear the eruption from all our Midwestern fans here. And Chaz Haas just won the 2017 edition of the STIHL Timbersports Collegiate Championship.
He's just a well-rounded athlete, and he's young. This guy's got a huge future ahead of him in the STIHL Timbersports Series.
That's one of the perks of a win in the Collegiate Series, is an automatic berth into the championship rounds, or the professional ranks, I should say.
I'm hoping he stays in the Midwest region next year for his qualifying. I'm in the Northeast region. I don't want to tangle with that guy.